Saudi Arabia, an Arabian country which covers around 80% of the entire Arabian Peninsula with a population of over 35 million, is geographically the largest country in the Middle East. And to live up to its size, it is constructing the largest and the grandest township ever seen in the history of mankind. A 110-mile or 170-kilometer long smart city, the Line is the first of its kind architectural megastructure that is being built in the middle of a desert in Tabuk province of Saudi Arabia, and it will be around 1,600 feet above sea level and around 656 feet wide. But why Saudi Arabia is building such an unconventional megastructure in the middle of a desert? Let's find out in this episode of Stories Across. Saudi Arabia is economically the strongest country in the Middle East and the 18th largest economy in the world. And the reason this country is such a strong economic player is because it is the number one exporter of oil and has the second largest oil reserve in the world after Venezuela. Out of the total Saudi's GDP, a massive 42% comes from petroleum exports only. But for decades, the Saudi government has relied mostly on petroleum reserves and geared most of its efforts, if not all, towards the extraction and processing of fossil fuels. Such a major dependence on oil reserves only has led Saudi Arabia's economy mostly underdeveloped in other important sectors like education, healthcare, infrastructure, etc. Therefore, to reduce the total dependence on just oil, under the rule of Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, the Saudi government has created Saudi Vision 2030.
اليوم بصفتي رئيس مجلس إدارة نيوم نقدم لكم The Line.
A strategic framework to reduce Saudi's oil dependence and diversify its economy into public sectors like tourism, infrastructure, education, etc. Under this framework, the Saudi government is building a mega project called NEOM. This is one-of-a-kind smart city that consists of multiple projects like NEOM Bay Airport, Oxagon, Trojana, Sindala, and of course a linear city, the Line. The NEOM project is so massive in size that almost an area equivalent to the size of 33 New York cities will fit right in, which is around 10,200 square miles or 26,500 square kilometers. The Line itself covers an area of around 13 square miles or 34 square kilometers. According to the Line's official sources, the idea behind the Line is to create a civilizational revolution by redefining the concepts of urban development, a place which puts humans first while preserving 95% of the land for nature and wildlife. And the entire Line will be powered by 100% renewable source of energy. The Line will have a capacity to accommodate around 9 million people, with a total footprint of only 34 square kilometers. And this megastructure will be able to fit such a large population in such a small footprint because of its predominant idea of sustainability that has led to the creation of its unique design. Under this design philosophy, the Line City will have no roads and no cars, therefore will have zero carbon emission. However, this claim of zero emission is still controversial amongst nature conservationists, as even the basic building materials like steel, concrete, and glass have carbon emissions of their own. But the pursuit here is to eliminate any additional carbon emissions by burning fossil fuels for transportation or powering the city for its operation. Therefore, to morph this design philosophy into reality, the Line will have a long 110 miles or 170 kilometers linear design, which is claimed to be an ideal design for logistics and transporting people from one end to another via high-speed trains in just 20 minutes. Also, the entire structure will be divided in 3 different layers, encased in 1,600 feet high mirrored glass facades on both sides. The first layer will have walkways, gardens, trails, etc. for people to commute on, which will be a pedestrian level. Underneath this level will be the service layer that will comprise of businesses, shops, schools, etc. And the third and the final layer will be the spine layer that will handle transportation of people and cargo within the entire length of the city. And the entire city will be integrated and managed by artificial intelligence, which will collect data regarding air quality, humidity, logistics, public movement, etc., which can be used for machine learning and fine-tuning everyday functionality like power management, airflow, water supply, etc. Also, most of the services and amenities in the line will be accessible to the public within a walking distance of 5 to 10 minutes only. The construction of the line has already begun in October 2021 with an initial budget of $500 billion, but the revised estimates could go up to $1 trillion by the time the project is completed. The NEOM mega project also claims to provide 460,000 jobs and add an estimated $48 billion to the country's economy by the year 2030. But the real question is, will the Line City stand up to its claims regarding sustainability and a futuristic-looking civilizational revolution while being able to operate on zero emission, improving way of life, and protection of nature and wildlife, all living together cohesively? Well, the critiques have a very different opinion about this mega project. Some describe it as not a very legitimate mega project, but just a massive marketing campaign with a megaphone that has been packaged beautifully to attract world attention and potentially investors to invest in various economic diversification projects of Saudi Arabia. Others feel this project, if it ever gets completed in the first place, will create a very dystopian and artificial living facility which could ultimately do more harm than any good. And nature and wildlife experts suggest constructing a 1,600 feet tall and 110-mile long continuous line of urban space will disrupt the natural migration of wildlife. It will also create a huge obstacle for birds to fly, as these shiny mirrored facades would glare into their eyes, and some can even bump into the glass, as these mirrors will create an illusion of continuous sky and land, because the idea behind the design is in fact to camouflage the entire structure with the surrounding nature. Saudi Arabia has had a long-lived dream of diversifying its economy into multiple public sectors since the 1970s, and projects like Saudi Vision 2030 and the Line City can take decades to complete before any conclusion is drawn regarding its claims, success, or failure. Ultimately, it's a waiting game, and only time can tell the future of the linear city, the Line. This is Stories Across, and thank you for watching.